Happy Halloween, everyone. Happy Halloween. Yep, okay, you can hear me. That's cool. Okay. We're gonna wait a bit until we get more populated. I hope everyone is doing well, though. Let's see. I am saving images of public intellectuals right now so I could put them on my tier list. I am thinking of who to put. Who else can I put? So I have the usual suspects. Oh, let's do him. Uh, do, do, do. Oh, shit. Whoops. Damn it. Okay. I hope everyone's dressed up tonight, because I know I am. I am dressed up as someone, and I will tell you guys who I am dressed up as in a second once we get more people in the chat. But I am absolutely dressed up for Halloween. And I'm disappointed if you don't know who I'm dressed up as. Yes, public intellectual. So we're going to be ranking public intellectuals. So even if the person himself you consider to be just completely stupid, has no idea what they're talking about, that's fine. A lot of the people that I'm going to be ranking, I think that's of them, but because they have a in the public sphere, they would be considered public intellectuals. I only know private intellectuals. That's fine. Unfortunately, I can't rank the private intellectuals that you know because most likely I don't know them. But I am glad that you at least know some intellectuals. That's good. If there's any public intellectuals that you want me to rank, go ahead and put it in the chat. I would be more than willing. I mean, if I don't know who they are, I'll tell you I don't know who they are. Who else can we put in here? Oh, for sure. We got to put that guy in there. Forget him. I hope you guys are not hearing anything in the background. That would be incredibly annoying. But there's not much I can do about it. I am terribly sorry. Normally I live alone, but because university accommodations are not an option for this year due to a specific pandemic, I will not be able to be living alone. Who else could we put in the public intellectual tier? Who do we got? Like it can't be someone really just not very well known. Oh, for sure. There we go. Okay, so we got him. Uh, bu- 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 bu. Oh, for sure. Absolutely, we got to put that person in. Okay. This is exciting. This is exciting stuff, guys. We are going to be doing. Oh, whoops. I didn't copy the image. Copy image. And then who's the other person? Jason Reza Dragani. Okay. Super esoteric. Oh, Nick Bostrom. Okay, yeah, for sure. We can totally do Nick Bostrom. Yeah, let's do Nick Bostrom. Not seen his podcast with Lex Fridman, which I really need to. I like those guys. I like those two guys a lot. Nick Bostrom. There was another guy here. Is Elon Musk an intellectual? Yeah, of course he's an intellectual. We'll do Elon Musk. I mean, he's a freaking billionaire entrepreneur who talks about philosophy and engineering. So I would assume that's credentialed enough to be an intellectual. I mean, have you not seen his tweet saying pronouns suck? That's about as intellectual as you can get. Who was the other guy? Oh, let's do Douglas Murray and James Lindsay. Okay. Douglas Murray. Let's do him. Sam Harris. Sam Harris, of course, is on here. No worries. And then James Lindsay. I will share my screen in a bit. Just making sure I have everyone. James Lindsay changed his Twitter profile picture. That's a shame. I liked his man spreading one. Let's see. Let me advertise this. I have not tweeted this out. Once I gotta tweet out my stream. What am I doing? I'm live, Halloween special, ranking public intellectuals. I gotta advertise myself better. I'm terrible at advertising myself. Oh, I got a message. I'm live. Happy Halloween. Oh, I didn't know this. Okay, there we go. So I tweeted this out. I don't even know how I got here from where I was. I clicked because I liked the title of the video. Oh, are you not subscribed? You gotta subscribe, man. Well, this is the best YouTube channel on the planet. Yeah, I don't know how you got here either, but I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here. I'm trying to think of other public intellectuals. Who do we got? So it doesn't matter what side of the political aisle they are. I have people on the left. I have people on the right so far. Who else could we? And it's got to be somebody I'm obviously well acquainted with. So we got Sean Carroll counts. Let's do Sean Carroll. Sean Carroll counts. Of course, Sean Carroll counts. Let's do Sean Carroll. Yeah, let's get some scientists in here, actually. I don't have that many scientists. Chris Hedges. Who's Chris Hedges? Sounds familiar. Is that the... Yeah, I don't know enough about him. I don't know who this guy is. Who is he? Wow, he's a Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist. He's a Presbyterian minister, author, and television host. I wish I knew more about him. Unfortunately, I don't. Paste. Oh my God, I am missing... I'm missing some heavyweights here, actually. No, they don't have to be alive. They can be dead. No worries. I have a few dead people here so far. Actually, I have one dead person, and that's it. Yeah, so they can be dead. Who's Hedges is pretty good. I'm afraid I don't know much about him or anything about him actually. Trying to think because I got a bunch. Who do I got? I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, over 20. They cannot be among the living? No, they can't. I mean, it's Halloween, man. It's a Halloween. They can absolutely be among the dead. We just gotta make sure that they count as a public intellectual, right? So it can't be like an actor who once in a while gives his opinion. I wouldn't consider that a public intellectual. Voltaire, Hume. Yeah, I mean, we can totally go old school philosophers. Let's do that. So let's do David Hume. You guys dress up for Halloween? I hope it was something cool. I'm dressed up for Halloween right now, so I am actually dressed up as someone. I will tell you who I'm dressed up as in a bit. Oof, that's too large of an image. Let's do this one. Okay. I've got asses to kick and names to take. Oh, that's a shame. Glenn Lowry. Oh, Chomsky. Let's do Chomsky. Yeah, I have Glenn Lowry there. Let's do Chomsky. Absolutely. Chomsky. Man, all these images are like 1600 by 1200. I gotta find. Just give me a small one. This one's good. Russell. Foucault. You want to do Foucault? Wow. Okay. Let's do Foucault. Drink. Hello. John Rawls. You're going like old school philosophy, man. So you're going John Rawls. What was the other person? Bertrand Russell. Okay, so you're certainly a good student of philosophy. Kant. Man, you guys. All right, you guys want me to do old school philosophers now? Yeah, Christopher Hitchens is there for sure. Don't worry, he's there. We got the heavy hitters. Kant, John Rawls. I think I have Kant in here, right? Yeah, I got Kant. No worries. Kant's there. That's going to be so weird because we're going to realize that I don't hold old school philosophy in as much reverence as some contemporary philosophers do. And that probably has more to do with the fact that I'm very distrustful of philosophy, more so than the average person. So I am no cosmic skeptic when it comes to philosophy, I'll tell you that much. Peter Singer. Oh, let's do Peter Singer for sure. How can I forget Peter Singer? Peter Singer. Brian Greene. Okay, let's do Brian Greene for sure. You guys are coming up with good names. Look at these are names that I completely forgot about. So that's good. You see, this is why I'm doing this live. This is why I'm doing this live. Brian Greene. I got like over 30 now. Over 30 people. And I wonder if you guys are going to hate me for putting someone that you guys love low on the list. So Peter Singer, Brian Greene. So, and I got Sean Carroll there too, don't worry. And we could put some other physicists if you want. Brian Greene. Brian Greene. Yo, how you doing? Pinker's there. That's all right. A lot of people share your thoughts on that too. Oh yeah, I mean, pretty much. I mean, I know Brian Greene does. Lawrence Krauss does. A lot of scientists tend to do that. Dave Rubin. Nick, is that? Of course, Dave Rubin's. Dude, Dave Rubin is already S tier. Let's not even pretend that Dave Rubin is not S tier already. All right. Dave Rubin, he's like triple S tier. Are you kidding me? His brain. he's too high level for us. So anyway, so you guys ready to know who I am? So first of all, I want you guys to guess who I am. Right now, I am dressed up as someone for Halloween. Who am I dressed up as? Whoever can guess this, I will mail you a $300 gift card. Hey, Apori is here. How you doing, dude? We got to get you back on. So I'm dressed up as someone for Halloween, and I want you guys to guess it. If you guess it, $300 gift card. Easy. Easy money. It's so obvious who I am. Who do we... Oh, you said Foucault. That's right. So let's do Foucault. Steven Crowder. Oh, Steven Crowder. We got to get that guy too. Steven Crowder. Let's do Steven Crowder. I'm not Steven Crowder. I'm sorry. Good guess. Good guess. The winner is Robin DiAngelo. Oh, I have Robin DiAngelo here. Don't worry. Robin DiAngelo is here for sure. Can you not have Robin DiAngelo? A white supremacist? Oh, I'm not. No, not quite. No. I mean, he might be, but I don't. If he is, he hasn't publicly stated it. Ooh, Foucault. Let's do Foucault. Daniel Dennett too, please. Let's do Daniel Dennett. Let's just do the All Horsemen of Atheism. Let's do Richard Dawkins too, because I have Sam Harris and Hitchens here too. So let's do Dawkins as well. Foucault. And then Dennett. Nah, I mean you're a white supremacist for him. No, I know. I mean, again, whoever I'm dressed up as for Halloween, maybe they're a white supremacist, but they haven't said it, you know? They haven't publicly stated it. But they could be. Who knows? Charles Murray. I haven't read the Bell Curve, actually. I don't know much Charles Murray or read his most recent book, the one on diversity. So unfortunately, I just don't know much about him. I know he's controversial. I know a lot of public intellectuals and sociologists have attempted to discredit his claims on IQ and race, but aside from that, I actually don't know much about him. Richard Spencer. We could do Richard Spencer. We could do Richard Spencer. We could probably do some YouTubers too, actually. Yeah, so if you guys want me to do YouTubers, so long as I know who they are. Michael Shermer, yeah, Jordan Peterson's there. Natalie from ContraPoints, yeah, I know she's super popular. I don't know much about her either. I really got to though. I'm subscribed to ContraPoints. Much about her. It's got to be someone that I'm well acquainted enough with to the point where I can have a definitive opinion on. So I know a good amount about Vosh. Vosh is here. Alex's new video. Yeah, I saw it. He got a lot of dislikes immediately on it, and he got into a fight with Matt Dillahunty on Twitter about it, surprisingly enough. So I don't think he's in good with Matt Dillahunty anymore, because Matt Dillahunty gets very easily offended when... So Matt Dillahunty basically got mad at Alex, saying that he's sermonizing towards his audience about veganism, and so Alex shouldn't be surprised when he sees a large amount of dislikes on his video because people recognize that they're being sermonized to, and he doesn't like that. Alex snapped back basically saying that, hey, you're doing the same exact thing with religion, but because there's a double standard, you're not going to notice that or recognize the fact that there's a double standard, and that the same thing that you're saying in regards to him on veganism could be relayed back towards him when it comes to atheism. And they got mad at each other, back and forth, back and forth. Jack Uger. Armin of Bobby. Armin will get mad at me if I don't put him at S tier. Let's do Armin. He's going to get mad at me. I mean, he's not going to see this. Sargon, Big Brains of a Cod. Keith Woods. I don't know who that is. I'm sorry. So sorry. Who is Keith Woods? Let's look this up. Keith Woods. So I'm thinking about streaming for maybe 2.5 hours today. I don't have anything to do. Keith Woods. Who is this guy? He is Vice President of Diversity in News and Operations. He leads the department of NPR's Vision and Strategy for Diversity. I'm surprised I don't know who this guy is. Yeah, it's embarrassing. Watch video. Do you watch? Which video did you watch? People mix up the titles. How would aliens judge us? How do we judge aliens? Just curious. Oh, first one. Was the one with... Faye, the most gracious. Well, if people get militant about veganism, there's gonna be a Snapchat. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that happened with atheism too at first. But the argument that Alex O'Connor said that unless Matt Dillahunty is employing the same arguments against atheist YouTubers and against himself, then he shouldn't be saying anything. But I don't mind. Like, I get it. There's going to be pushback based on something that people hold near and dear to their hearts. So I don't mind that. Like, I totally recognize that. You have a flat earther on the podcast. Dude, if flat earther wants to come on the podcast, absolutely. I do not mind at all. Because I'm not concerned about flat earth becoming popular, so it's not like one of those things where you should be concerned that if you platform someone who's popular or someone whose opinions are becoming exponentially more and more popular, then you should be concerned. I don't think flat earth is going anywhere. Totally be down to have a conversation with a flat earther. I think we have enough public intellectuals. Did I miss anyone? Let's see. Rachel Oates. I don't know much about Rachel Oates. Faye the Great. I don't know much about her either. I know she got in a fight with someone that I know, that I'm friends with. Ta-Nehisi Coates. Let's do Ta-Nehisi Coates. Okay, yeah, I've read 2 Ta-Nehisi Coates books. I've watched him testify in front of Congress. I've watched a few videos of his. Okay, let's do Ta-Nehisi Coates. Okay, Coates. Your plaid shirt is very scary. Well, Melissa, actually, I am dressed up as someone for Halloween. So if you can figure out who I'm dressed up as for Halloween, you will get a $300 gift card. What metric will you be using? So I'm going to be using the classic template where it's like S tier, A tier, B tier. So the classic meme template, basically. Coates? Doesn't he write for... What? He wrote a Captain America comic? He wrote Between the Worlds and Me, We Were 8 Years in Power. He's the sort of critical race theorist, basically. I didn't know he wrote Captain America. Did he? Gee, that's amazing. No shit, he did. I didn't know this. How did I not know this? Captain America Volume 1, Winter in America. Yeah, by Ta-Nehisi Coates. You're kidding me. I didn't know this. How did I not know? I want to read this now. And for Black Panther? Yeah, yeah, I'm not dressed up as Steven Crowder. Does Steven Crowder wear plaid shirts? I gotta read this. I wonder how much political commentary there is in it. I mean, there's got to be a lot for sure. Slavoj Zizek there. Don't worry. Top of the list must be a vegan and an atheist. So do they have? Do you mean someone who's a vegan and someone who's an atheist, or two people separately? One is an atheist, one is a vegan. So okay, let's get started. Actually, if someone else comes, but I will tell you who I'm dressed up as for Halloween. So, in 2015, right? Yeah, 2015, an incredibly popular movie came, and that movie was called Fantastic Four, directed by Joshua Trank. And in that film, there's a character named Reed Richards, who is Mr. What is it? Mr. Elastic. So this is who I'm dressed up as for Halloween. Look, that's him. That's who I'm dressed up as for Halloween. So Fantastic Four, the 2015 Josh Trank directed film. That's Reed Richards as a child who was in the movie for about 10 seconds. I'm dressed up as him. Do I look like him? Because that's who I am. That is who I am for Halloween. So anyways. All right, so here we go. You guys ready? Start at the very bottom. Or let's start randomly. I'll close my eyes. This guy. Oh, Milo Yiannopoulos. Wait, Glenn Lowry. Okay, so we're doing Glenn Lowry first. So the plate is indicative of family affiliation. Scottish lad. What is your clan? Did I say plaid? I mean plaid. Never would. Yeah, no one would have guessed that. That's why I said. Yeah, the 2015 Fantastic Four was garbage. That's why I said I was going to send you guys a $300 gift card, because there's no way any of you would have figured out who I was. But okay, so 30 minutes. So it takes about 30 minutes for the chat to start popping. The only thing I don't like about this is that when I share my screen, my video camera lags. Is this a program you will run the names though? What do you mean? So what I'm doing, I'm just using Photoshop, and I have all the list here of names. First up is Glenn Lowry. So let's see who we could do Glenn Lowry with. I hope it's oh wait, it's not live on my screen. There we go. Yeah, so now I should be tiny. Pretty small. So Glenn Lowry. So I agree with most of what Glenn Lowry says about race relations. He has a bit of a strap yourself up by the bootstrap mentality that I don't quite 100% agree with, but overall he's pretty great. I like him quite a bit. He is very smart. He's a professor of economics at Brown University. He usually hosts a guest alongside John McWhorter. I'm giving him beer. I'm doing Glenn Lowry as a B. I think that's the best place to put Glenn Lowry at. Now, his partner in crime, John McWhorter, on the other hand, doesn't. So John McWhorter is nowhere near, but he's not as strap yourself up by the bootstrap as much as Glenn Lowry is. I think he speaks better, probably because he's a linguist, which is probably the obvious reason why he speaks better. I don't even know why I question that. He's fantastic. I think he's great. I think he's brilliant. I don't think he's ever really said anything that I quite disagreed with. Maybe he'll say something in which I think that he could probably elaborate on and say something more, not more eloquently because he's beautifully. Maybe he could say something on a specific topic that I think there's more information or he's lacking context. But aside from that, speaking, he's fantastic. I love Glenn too. He is an A for me, and John is an S. John is higher than Glenn Lowry. I'll say that much. McWhorter gets an A. I think that's where I'm going to place him. I like Jane Elliott's take on race and racial discrimination. She's really ballsy about it too. So we're going to give John McWhorter is going for an A. So far this is what we got. No, so S is obviously 10 out of 10. A is fantastic. B is good. C, I'm going to say this because I know some people view these metrics differently. So for me, a C is someone who's like, I should actually know because there's also an E there. So that I was going to say C is average, but a C is there too. And B, Glenn Lowry is way above average. So I'm going to say D is average. All right. So D is the one where it's like, all right, like it's a passing grade. You pass as an intellectual, but whatever. E is not good, below average, not very good. You could do better. And F is just like, don't even bother listening to that person. All right. So that's my metric. Who do we got? Let's do Joe Rogan. Where do we put Joe Rogan? So D is the Met of grades. Yeah, let's do that because normally C would be the of grades, but because we have an E and in the American grading system, there is no E. It just goes, or there's no S obviously either. There's A, B, C, D, and F. So we'll just do D, the Met of grading. Jane Elliott, the racist white woman. Who is Jane Elliott? Who are you guys talking about? Oh, she's a diversity educator, so I'm not surprised if she is super duper racist, anti-white. What books? Maybe I've read her books. Oh, wait. Movies and TVs. Are these documentaries or did she direct these? Oh, who knows? Joe Rogan, E for entertainment tonight. So I don't think Joe Rogan is smart. I think he's intellectually honest. I think he's intellectually curious. He's not a grifter. Even though he has a tendency to just agree with whoever he's talking with. So if he's talking with someone like Richard Dawkins, he'll say, yeah, religion's stupid, isn't it? Ha ha ha, LOL. But then if he's talking to Jordan Peterson, he'll say, yeah, religion is good most of the time. It's necessary. So it's like, all right, make up your mind, man. So he does have that tendency. And it's not just religion. He does this with AI. He does this with a few other topics. But I like him overall. I think, we've gotten a bunch of people, and so Joe Rogan is the most popular podcaster on the planet. Everyone knows who he is. He is the podcast to be on. And we could have gotten, we got lucky with the fact that we got Joe Rogan. We could have gotten someone else, someone so much worse. Is a grug? What the hell does that mean? What does a grug mean? What is grug? Definition. There's an Australian picture. What does this mean? Are you from Australia? I don't know what that is. Oh wow, you're going really low. Joe Rogan should be a D or an E, huh? Yeah, I've never heard of a grug. What's the Urban Dictionary? Plain red. What are grugs? Oh, a Neanderthal? Oh, a caveman. I never heard of that. Should I have heard of that? Is that an American thing? D, I mean, D is... Okay, so how are we judging this? Because I'm not judging this based on intelligence necessarily. That's part of the equation, obviously, but I'm also judging this based on, well, how intellectually honest are they? How willing are they to have difficult conversations? Joe Rogan is C because he is not an intellectual. Yeah, I'll agree. I mean, but he gets a B for his honesty and intellectual honesty. Joe's a C. Yeah, so let's do C. Because he's not quite up there with Glenn Lowry. And the reason mainly he's at a C is because the things that I don't like is that, one, I mean, he's not like a genius or anything like that, right? He's probably super duper average intelligence. He does pander towards the person that he's speaking with, as I said, sometimes, like, based on who he's talking about, will curtail or will, like, change what his views on religion are or what his views on artificial intelligence are. So he does curate his views based on who he's talking to, or at least he curates the way in which he curates the lens in which he views that particular topic. So let's do that. Lawrence Krauss. Oh, let's do Lawrence Krauss. Actually, I'm actually listening to Lawrence Krauss's podcast with David Frum right now. Is it Frum or Frum? Probably David Frum. But yeah, so let's do Lawrence Krauss. So for this one, let's obviously ignore the allegations that were hurled at him because, I mean, for obvious reasons, right? We're just looking at him as a public intellectual in regards to what he has to offer intellectually speaking in the public discourse, and what he did, as despicable as it could be, it's irrelevant towards what we're doing specifically. So let's do Lawrence Krauss. So Krauss, I've met him at his book signing speech. Intelligence counts too, but what sucks about Rogan in that regard is that is it his emotional intelligence playing into the fact that he's curating how he views topics based on who he's talking about? Is that emotional intelligence just because he doesn't want to engage in a pretty big altercation? Is that the yeah? So emotional bravery has also got to be a part of the equation too. So Lawrence Krauss. So I like Lawrence. Like Lawrence Krauss is one of those people you say he's a B. So I agree with Lawrence Krauss on most of the things that he says politically. I don't agree with everything he says. He's very Chomsky-esque in his foreign policy. I'm not a hawk or anything, but I'm definitely not as dovish as Lawrence Krauss is. I don't think his views on philosophy actually changed. So he used to be super duper anti-philosophy. Now he's a lot more sympathetic towards philosophy. If you watch his podcast with AC Grayling, I don't think it's fair to consider Rogan in this category. He's not smart, but he doesn't pretend to be. Yeah, so he doesn't pretend to be smart, but he's still. I don't think you have to necessarily be smart to be an intellectual. I think isn't the definition of intellectual someone who just like engages in these type of conversations? You don't actually have to be smart. Intellectual definition. Relating to the intellect. A person possessing a highly totally wrong. Never mind. Okay. So you're right. Yeah, maybe we shouldn't actually have Joe Rogan on here. I thought public intellectual was just someone who like engaged in these situations. So things I don't like about Krauss. He's nowhere near as philosophically sophisticated as someone like Sam Harris or Christopher Hitchens is. But he does understand basic philosophical concepts. He's very knowledgeable, so he knows about like the Ravens problems, the problem of induction. He knows about these things. Whether or not he can think deeply about them or understand them anywhere near to the extent that someone like Sam Harris can, that's up for debate. But he knows that they exist, so that's good. Michio Kaku. Michio Kaku would be like a D or a C. He's not that good. So you know what? He's definitely Let's do B. I'm going to say Lawrence Krauss is a B. What do you guys think? Lawrence Krauss a B? Krauss is a B. I just say Krauss. Okay, so yeah, two guys already said Krauss is a B. Yeah, sorry, Ram. I actually have Kaku's most recent book signed by him. So The Future of Humanity. I'm at an event he did in Los Angeles. So here we go. So I have his book signed him, and I think he's fun, but I think he's like his views on AI are very simplistic. His views on religion are super simplistic. He's very wishy-washy, but whatever. All these intellectuals show a bias. Everyone does. Everyone shows a bias though. That's not a big deal. As a non-American, it is obvious and does seem to be unconscious, but it's there. Wait, American exceptional. Okay, Lawrence Krauss definitely is not an American exceptionalist. Glenn Loury definitely is. But yeah, Lawrence Krauss like takes a Chomsky view on foreign affairs, dude. Have you seen Vosh's terrible video on Thomas Sowell? In it, he said that equity doesn't mean equal outcome. That equity doesn't mean equal outcome? Let's do Vosh, actually. Okay. I have Vosh on here. Oh, wait. This guy. So what are we putting Dave Rubin? Wait, disagree with what? I mean, yeah. So for you could say that Glenn Lowry is somewhat of an American exceptionalist. He loves America. John McWhorter hasn't really talked about anything like that. Joe Rogan, maybe, kind of, but Lawrence Krauss is like a Dave Chomsky leftist. That's not. That's definitely not American exceptionalism. Destiny is smarter than Bosch. Don't worry, we got Destiny on here. No worries. Yeah, so Dave Rubin. So already we have someone putting Dave Rubin up on S. We're looking Dave Rubin. Rubin is smarter. Destiny is smarter than Bosch. Uh, what? Dave Rubin, intellectual? Yeah. So my original interpretation of this sort of thing was that a public intellectual doesn't necessarily mean that you're smart. It's just someone that engages in these types of intellectual conversations. And I defined intellectual as just conversations that people perceive as smart. But just because you're having these smart conversations does not mean you yourself are smart. But as a quick Google search turns out, I am terribly wrong. Yeah. So Dave Rubin, here's the thing. I don't care that Dave Rubin is a conservative or that he holds staunch conservative views. I have other people on here that are staunch conservatives that will definitely be pretty high up on this list. The difference is that Dave Rubin clearly has no idea what he's talking about. I don't even care about the accusation thrown at him towards that he's a grifter and that he only tries to appease his audience. That okay. What I care about is the fact that he clearly forms an opinion based on what his audience believes and based on what the conservative narrative is before even actually thinking it through. So when he's on Joe Rogan and he says something like, we don't need building codes, that, human nature will take care of that. And then he completely, absolutely, utterly justify that claim. It shows that he's just forming an opinion based on the label that he placed himself, that he gave him. So yeah, we're looking at F for Dave Rubin. We're looking at F. Oh, you'd put him at an E. So that's not. Who would be an F? Okay, so if Dave Rubin. Dave is an F or E. Yeah, that's the thing. So if Dave Rubin is an E, who would be an F? Let's do E. I don't feel comfortable putting him all the way down at F because I feel like there's someone so much worse. I feel like there's someone so much worse than Dave Rubin. Okay, let's do so. For instance, now let's do someone like Ben Shapiro. Okay. Oh, Ibram Kendi. We got to do Ibram Kendi. You're right. I don't have Ibram Kendi on here. So let's do Kendi. So Ibram Kendi, quickly. So Ibram Kendi does disagree with Robin DiAngelo on a few things. So he disagrees that black people cannot be racist. So Robin DiAngelo would say that because black people hold no structural and institutional power, they cannot be racist by definition because racism is prejudice plus power. Ibram Kendi disagrees with this and says that racism is contingent on whether or not you support specific anti-racist or racist policies. So if you support racist policies, whether that means that you're abiding by the status quo or you're not supporting things like affirmative action, then you are a racist. And if black people can support those things, then black people can't be racist. So yeah, let's do Ibram Kendi first, actually. So Kendi. So where should we place Kendi? So Kendi, keep in mind, so even though Kendi's not as bad, or yeah, Kendi's still pretty bad. So even though Kendi doesn't believe that black people can't be racist, he still holds views that are based on a completely different arc of reality than what most people believe in. So most people define racism differently. He says, no, we should define it differently based on a framework that nobody is with me on, a framework that is incredibly catastrophic, a framework that really you could make the argument that there's no difference between now and the 1960s. We should do Jerry Coyne. Yeah, Jerry Coyne's great. I love Jerry Coyne. F for me is a person with a very destructive ideas. Yeah, I tend to agree. I think that's part of it. It's hard because I would say that even if you have bad ideas that I consider bad, but you can justify them, you're smart, you clearly thought through the positions enough, and sure, you came at different conclusions that I did, but so long as you can provide a convincing argument for your position, makes me think, I would say that, okay, that's fine, I wouldn't put you that low on the list. Yeah, Ibram Kendi is. Well, where's Dave Rubin? Where'd Rubin go? My bad. Sorry, Rubin. Like, I'd rather. Okay, so yeah, I'd rather live in a world full of Dave Rubins than full of Ibram Kendis. So Ibram Kendi's an F. Let's do that. I can't believe I found someone lower than Dave Rubin. Yeah, Ibram Kendi. Okay. Deepak Chopra. Yeah, Deepak Chopra is a freaking Z, man. Okay. So let's do Ben Shapiro. So here is the anti-Dave Rubin in a way. Because even though Ben Shapiro agrees with, yeah, you know what? Robin DiAngelo is also an F. Let's just put DiAngelo there. So whatever I said about Ibram Kendi, modify it just a tiny, tiny bit, and you got Robin DiAngelo. So Robin DiAngelo is an F. Okay, so Ben Shapiro. I disagree with Ben Shapiro on 90% of the things that he says. I think he's silly when he talks about religion, when he talks about trans people, when he talks about language in general and how we use language, whether or not it's prescriptive or descriptive. He goes a bit silly on that. I disagree with his policies. I'm pretty left wing, but Ben Shapiro is legitimately smart. He graduated high school at the age of 16. He went to Harvard. He went to UCLA, Harvard Law School. So he's smart. And listening to the justifications of a specific policy or a specific claim about culture from Ben Shapiro is very different from listening to the justification of Dave Rubin. So I would say, if you can listen to Ben Shapiro and not take anything away and just come across as like, he's just stupid, annoying, whatever, you're probably just very emotional. I do think Ben Shapiro is smart, and I would say he is a good representation of the opposition. So even though I disagree with almost everything he says. Nick Fuentes over Ben Shapiro? Absolutely not. You are nuts. Crazy, Caligula. It's insane. I still love you, though. So I'm going to give Ben Shapiro a D. Because his views are dumb. So if he wasn't smart, right? Like if he was Dave Rubin smart, obviously he'd be next to Dave Rubin. But he's a smart guy. And he does his best to justify it. He does his best to link Judeo-Christian values to Jerusalem and Athens and the concept of American morality and the concept of American rights. He links that towards Athens and Jerusalem. So he does his best. God bless him. His best. Does his best. Oh, he changed your mind on gun control. Really? That's interesting. Zizek. Where do I begin with this guy? So Slavoj Zizek, he is a Marxist/communist darling. I think there was a Vice article written about him, an extremely long one. But I'm not putting that up. So here's my problem with Slavoj Zizek. I have a few of his books. I read his most recent one, Pandemic, and I have his penultimate book, Sex and the Failed Absolute. Now, the problem with Slavoj Zizek is a similar problem that I have with many philosophers, in which they come across as just pretentious losers, in which they use big words to justify an idea that is pretty basic. So I disagree with Slavoj Zizek's views on human nature, on what it means to truly be happy, which obviously then would mean I disagree with his political and economical views. I disagree with his views on religion, so he's super sympathetic towards Christianity specifically. I am not. So I disagree with a lot of what he says. And he's definitely smart, but the problem with Slavoj Zizek is that he talks on and on and on. He talks for 5 minutes, and he tells you an idea that he has that could have been conveyed in one. So he talks like, oh yeah, most famous philosopher alive. I think, yeah, I'm for sure he's the most famous philosopher alive. Who else would be another philosopher that's alive? Like a famous philosopher up at Zizek's level. It's hard to tell. AC Grayling? But yeah, so I would say I'm going D for Slavoj Zizek. I'm going D. So Ta-Nehisi Coates believes in very similar things that Ibram K. Angelo believe, but he's a fantastic writer. He writes beautifully. So I'm giving him an E. Judith Butler? Judith Butler, yeah, that's an F. All right, now I'm going to anger some people now. All right, you guys ready? I'm going to anger some of you. Yeah, it's okay. So we're going to do Sam Harris. So here's the thing with Sam. So again, when we're talking about F, I'm not saying like the worst person on the planet, the dumbest person on the planet. I'm amazed this person hasn't run himself into traffic. No, it's very relative, right? And when I'm talking about S, I'm not saying the smartest person on the planet. Oh my God, this person's going to bring about revolutionary social and political change towards the world. That's obviously not what I'm saying. This is completely relative, and this is just based on public intellectuals that have changed my mind to some substantial degree. So here's the thing with Sam Harris. I've read every single one of Sam Harris's books. I listen to his podcast. I know a lot about him. I probably know more about Sam Harris than I do all these other people. Maybe, actually. I've read way too much of Kendi and Coates and D'Angelo. I've read way too much critical race theory, man. I have Foucault on here too. I've read way too much of that stuff. So the thing with Sam Harris. Sorry, I gotta send a quick text. Sam is an A? Okay. So here's the thing about Sam Harris. I think Sam Harris, for one, is undeniably smart. He's undeniably brilliant, right? Academically, he's brilliant for sure. He graduated magna cum laude from his, not magna cum laude, sorry, that's university. He graduated valedictorian from his university. He's clearly philosophically fluent. He has a PhD in neuroscience, so academically, he's great. Philosophically, I would also say he's great. I think even though I don't agree everything with the moral landscape, he can justify it incredibly well. And if he was here next to me, he'd be able to beat the shit out of me if I'm trying to argue against the moral landscape. It's a great academic work. It's great academic work. The stuff that he completely convinced me on are topics like religion, topics like free will. I think he completely on that. I think he's wrong about spirituality. I think he's right on Trump. I know a lot of people hate what he says because he's so anti-Trump, and they say that he's just, Trump derangement syndrome. I don't think that's true at all. So on the fact that he's legitimately brilliant, he can defend his positions incredibly well. Say what you will. You can disagree with what he says. He can defend his positions incredibly well. He's principled. I'm looking at S tier for Sam Harris, honestly. Again, this is relative. That's not saying that he's like the most brilliant person on the planet. But compared to everybody else here on the list, I think Sam Harris exceeds all of them. Even though I disagree more with Sam Harris than I do with John McWhorter, than I do with Krauss, based on who he is as a person, how principled he is, how he can defend his positions, how intellectually dexterous he is, he's definitely S. So I'd say Sam Harris is S. Again, like someone who is S does not mean I agree with everything they say. It's just a matter of how that person presents themselves, how smart they are, how can they defend themselves, how intellectually honest they are. And like that is the definition of Sam Harris to me. Yeah, I mean, yeah, and you could probably convince me maybe to put him in an A. I get that. But for me, so far, he's an S. Let's do... Who do we got now? You guys want to do Candace Owens? Let's just... Candace Owens. If you watched my stream last night, we were watching a video of Candace Owens talking about climate change. She's an E. That's not even... Do I even need to talk Candace Owens for longer than 1 second? Come on. Sam is excellent. Huge fan. But the only real strike I have against Sam is that he's not the most engaging speaker. He'd be much better convincing people if he was more dynamic. But he's... What do you mean by that, actually? Fair enough. But Krause should be an A, perhaps. Oh, you really like Krause? Yeah, don't get me wrong. I like Krause a lot. He's good. He's amazing when it comes to physics. There's a video of me on the internet asking Krause a question. Owens is immoral? That's crazy. Sorry, my bad English. Yes, Candace Owens is an E. Okay, let's do Vaush. So very much in the same vein of Sam Harris, Vaush is one that can defend his positions. He's clearly incredibly smart, obviously not as academically gifted as Sam Harris is. And I disagree with Vaush on a lot of things that he says. He's genuinely smart. I've watched a lot of Vaush. He engages in a lot of logical fallacies. So one of the things that, excuse me, one of the things that Vaush does not do is Vaush immediately, there's a saying, never attribute malice what you can attribute to stupidity. Vaush does the exact opposite. He attributes malice instead of stupidity. So if someone says something, like if someone contradicts themselves, instead of saying, oh, maybe they didn't think about that position very well, or maybe that's just a blind spot, but if they were in the room, they could probably justify it somewhat, he would immediately say, oh, maybe he's a grifter, or maybe she's a grifter. People like Candace Owens and Dave Rubens, they just want money, but they don't actually believe what they say. It's like, how do you know that? Maybe that's true, but because we can't epistemologically know for a fact that that's the case, or with any real level of confidence that I wouldn't be suspicious of, then you should just be arguing based on the merits of the argument. But he doesn't do this. So I think Vaush is emotional in his arguments. I don't think he's very good with logic. Again, he's a great debater. He's very eloquent, and he could probably justify his positions, but he justifies positions just by virtue of him being a good debater, not by virtue of his arguments actually being strong. So I'm going to give Vaush a C. That's where Vaush is. He's dishonest. Yeah, he is dishonest, bad faith, but because he is such, you know what, you guys, let's do D. You're right. Let's do D, because I'm like, wait a minute, but Joe Rogan is none of those things. So is it just because Vaush is a good debater that I'm putting him at C? Then why would Joe Rogan be there in the first place then? He's not a good debater, but he has everything else about Joe Rogan is good. So yeah, so here, alongside Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro is wrong about most of the things he says, so is Vaush, but they're both good debaters. So let's do that. Oh, you know what? Let's do Alex O'Connor. I'm going to do Alex O'Connor just because he was the guy he's the reason why I have a YouTube channel in the first place. So let's do Alex O'Connor. Let's do this. Look how handsome he looks. He's so handsome. I'm gushing over Alex O'Connor. Where is he? Alex. Cosmic Skeptic. So here's what I will say about Cosmic Skeptic. I'm going to tell you guys a story about me and Cosmic Skeptic. Vaush is a C for me too, but it can change every week. I don't know if honest, because he is too smart to not know what equity really is. Destiny, yeah, so I'll say this much. Destiny is higher than Vaush. Do you know Devin Tracy? Yeah, we do atheism is unstoppable. Let's do atheism is unstoppable. I guess I'll just do him as Kangaroo. He's the kind of guy that if I don't put him high on the list, he's going to make a 30-minute video of me just dunking on me. So let's paste. So, oh, whoops, what the hell? Did I not copy? Okay, there we go. But yes. Alex will always be an S for me, no matter what people say. Do that anti-natalist YouTuber. There's an anti-natalist YouTuber? I do too. I totally would. I think antinatalism is an interesting philosophical idea. I haven't had much time to engage with it. I'm reading. Alex O'Connor had a conversation with an antinatalist. I'm reading one of his books right now, but I'm not too fluent in that conversation. And I don't know who this YouTuber is that you are speaking of, but I would absolutely love to find out who that is. So Alex O'Connor. So I'm going to tell you a little story about Alex O'Connor. So I met Alex in 2018 at Logic Out in Los Angeles. basically doxing myself where I live around. So I've been told the accusation thrown at me that I speak pretty well, right? I can convey myself relatively well in front of a person that I don't know or someone who's a public intellectual, sure, whatever, whatever. The one person they completely stuttered consistently on that I couldn't get out a proper sentence out because I was just so nervous and so intimidated by was Alex O'Connor. Because I saw Alex O'Connor speak at Logical 2018 and he was so incredibly smart and so witty. And he had to improvise the latter end of his speech because I guess he didn't want to trespass on the domain of the previous speaker. So instead of having an hour long conversation of why smart people believe things, he did that for 30 minutes and then did a 30-minute Q&A. And he was he presented himself so well. And he was young. I think at the time he was 17, that I just couldn't help but stumble over my words. But I think so, right as it is right now, here's the thing. Alex O'Connor has S potential. I'll just say this much. Alex O'Connor has S potential, but he's still very young. He's still going through his degree in philosophy and theology. He still has time to grow. As it is right now, I'm going to give him an A. But he has the potential to be an S. And I think he will hit that potential. I think he will absolutely be an S. Now, let's give him an A. How about Destiny? Let's do Destiny right now, actually. So Destiny, the problem with Destiny is that he is a good debater. And the reason why that's a problem, when you have someone who is an incredibly good debater, it's difficult to determine how strong the arguments that they present are. Because he speaks so well, he speaks so fluently, he always has a counter argument. And sure, that could be indicative of having an actual strong argument in the first place, but could also be indicative of just the person being able to have fun with words much better than the person that he's debating with. So that's my concern with Destiny and with Vosh and with Ben Shapiro, is that they're just good debaters. So it's very hard to tell whether or not they actually have good arguments. You got to write it down. So Destiny is definitely above Vosh. So he's automatically in the C range. And I don't disagree with Destiny all the time. I disagree with him a lot. I agree with him on a few things. So he's a pretty big free speech guy. He's a pretty neoliberal centrist when it comes to economic policy. He's not a Bernie Sanders lefty, from what I know. I think he did support Bernie Sanders, though, but for like other reasons, maybe. But I know he's like liberal. So I'm going to say Destiny. Like some of Destiny's arguments are really, really bad. So like when Destiny argues against Sam Harris, it would be like, oh, Sam Harris just loves science so much. He always wants to suck science's dick. It's like he does stuff like that. He acts sometimes. Oh, Coleman Hughes. How did I not do Coleman Hughes? Are you kidding me? Coleman Hughes for sure. All right, this is the last guy we're adding. Otherwise, there's so many people I can add. So we're doing Coleman Hughes for sure. We got to do Coleman Hughes. How can I forget Coleman Hughes? Coleman Hughes. Okay. We'll do Coleman Hughes next. So Destiny, I'm going to give Destiny a C. How's that sound? That sound good? Yeah, he's better than Bosch for sure. And now let's do Coleman. T-Jump on the list. He's a really good debater, especially on modern day debate. I don't know who that is. Destiny's a solid C for me, while Vosh is C minus, almost D. Yes, what I put? Yeah, D for Vosh, C for Destiny. Okay. So Coleman Hughes, incredibly bright. He's right on race relations, I think. I think he's smart there. He's pretty conservative economically, which is fine. I think, I do believe in a high level of socialization for a capitalist society. He probably wouldn't agree with me on the level of socialization, but he's legitimately smart. He's very thoughtful. He sounds a lot like Sam Harris. So if you watch his podcast, his intros, he sounds like Sam Harris. Yeah. So I think, Ahmed, you are 100% right. So I'm going to put Coleman Hughes at a B with the potential to be an A. So in the same way, Alex O'Connor is an A and has the potential to be an S, Coleman Hughes is a B and has the potential to be an A. But he's a B right now because he's super young. He's like, what, 20? Coleman Hughes is like super duper young. Hey, Fanny, how you doing? Everyone, go check out Fanny's podcast. She's great. I was on there. It's a lot of fun. I have like 50 tabs open on my phone. The highest black intellectual in the land is probably Cornel West. Coleman is A. Like with Alex, he has S potential to be S. Oh, you think? Yeah, I mean, maybe. I think it's definitely possible that he'll be S potential, but he's still super young. He's so young, and there's so much potential there. I throw Thomas Sowell on this list. Yeah, I know you love Thomas Sowell. Why did send the input from a friend? It became more ideological later on. Okay, so I think we're like what 40% done. It seems like Richard Dawkins. So Richard Dawkins revolutionized so much more than people gave him credit to. So Richard Dawkins, obviously, he's revolutionary when it comes to evolutionary biology. He's fantastic in that regard. These are the things that I like about him. So he coined the word meme. So I have that to thank for him. And he revolutionized, he normalized atheism within the scientific community at a degree that it wasn't normalized before. So what was normalized was just identifying as one. What was not normalized was being vocally anti-religion, and Dawkins did that. So Dawkins normalized being anti-religion. So he was revolutionary, culturally speaking, scientifically speaking. However, I don't think he felt as well anymore as he did back then, because now the arguments that are presented in the public discourse for religion are a lot more philosophical, and I don't think he's there. Like the one thing I don't like about Richard Dawkins is that he's not very good with philosophy, and he says he doesn't like philosophy very much. So that's the thing I don't like. I'm looking forward to speaking with him one day. Oh, I hope you do speak with Richard Dawkins. Yeah, so Richard Dawkins changed me. Richard Dawkins was the person who convinced me to be an atheist, and Christopher Hitchens was the person who convinced me to be an anti-theist. I think Richard Dawkins should be an A. He would be an S, but the thing that I don't like is that he dismisses philosophy in a way that makes him come across as just unsophisticated sometimes when he talks about religion. So that's the only reason why he's not an A. But that's the only reason why he's not an S, but he's definitely an A. So we're doing Richard Dawkins an A. Daniel Dennett. Definitely the weakest person of the four horsemen of atheism. He has some interesting philosophical ideas, like, whether we're talking about an intuition pump. I don't think he said anything revolutionary enough to the point where he changed my mind on anything crazy. I think he was just kind of like, I'm not taking off. I promise. I'm just getting really hot, so I'm taking off my Halloween costume. So I'm going to say Daniel Dennett is a C. Mainly, like, not because I disagree with a lot of things that he says, but just because he doesn't really present anything new. Whatever you hear from Daniel Dennett, you could just as easily hear from someone else who's considered. So we're doing C for Daniel Dennett. Foucault. This guy sucks. So he's just one of the guys that everything he views with the lens of power structures, who has power, who doesn't have power, who's F. Sorry, Foucault. I got a few of his books back here. What do I got? Yeah, so I got Madness, the introduction the series of introductions by, like, what is it, Gutling? So do Aaron Ra? I don't know. Steven Crowder. So look at that. Hopefully we get a normal distribution later on. Steven Crowder, E. Let's just put him at E already. He's funny. I think he's funny, but he's E. Brian Greene. So as many of you guys may know, I'm a physics major, and I'm influenced a lot by people like Sean Carroll, Brian Greene, and Lawrence Krauss, Richard Feynman. Brian Greene, I love his physics. I love his work on string theory. I love his book, The Elegant Universe. The most recent one, The End of Time, I think that's what it's called. Until the End of Time. He's way too sympathetic towards religion and towards other views of understanding reality, so much so he would probably consider himself a logical positivist, which is not good at all. Logical positivism sucks. I'm going to give him a B. Sam Harris might be an A. Yeah, he's super monotone. I love his voice though. Just listen to him on 2 times speed. Yeah, Feynman is an S. So if Feynman was here, he'd be an S. Peter Singer, great work on veganism. Pretty good work on philosophy. Let's do B as well. Peter Singer's a B. He did a great podcast with Alex O'Connor. Okay. Chomsky. The problem with Chomsky. So Chomsky is super hardcore. Like he's about as left as when it comes to foreign policy, so much so to the point where I think it clouds his judgment on topics of like Islam and foreign intervention. I think he really treats that like. So I'm thinking Chomsky D, man. Because it's not a matter of fact that I disagree with him. It's that one, I'm sure he can justify his positions well with, I don't know, maybe specific instances of coups in Guatemala or whatever. But there's just a clear. What do you guys think? Where should Chomsky be? Chomsky is very one-dimensional in politics. He's one note. Whoa, you can't see my witch, huh? That's a shame. Yeah, I got a witch on the top left because it's Halloween. U.S. Yeah, that's basically yeah, and Lawrence Krauss is very much influenced by Chomsky. So let's do Douglas Murray. Matt Rose is speaking about Douglas Murray and as well as Nick Kano. So let's do Douglas Murray. Where are you? Look at him. So first things first, Douglas Murray is gorgeous. Okay, so here's the thing. I disagree with Douglas Murray a lot. Obviously, I disagree with him on Christianity and its value to the West. I disagree with him on his conservative politics. But he is legitimately smart. He is the one conservative, probably, yeah, I think he's the conservative who's brought me the most pause in some of my beliefs. He means well. He still talks to Dave Rubin, which he shouldn't. Just leave that guy alone. I like this book, The Madness of Crowds. I haven't read The Strange Death of Europe. I have it there. But from the conversations that I've seen him have and the debates that he's had, I disagree with him on Islamic immigration or Muslim immigration specifically. But I'm going to give him an A just because he's legitimately smart. Yeah, he's very smart. Even though I disagree with a lot of things that he says. Trump did throw an S when journalists asked and told him about QAnon. Yeah, Caligula. So yeah. Chomsky is mainly a linguist, and he's done some great work on linguistics. So one of the things that he said was that we have an internal device, basically, that allows us to be sort of evolutionarily predisposed to learning language in the sensitive period when we're a child. So he's very much he's done some great work in linguistics alongside people like Steven Pinker as well. But I'm not a linguist, so I don't know. I know it's revolutionary. I know he's convinced a lot of people. But I mostly know his work from foreign policy. B or C for Chomsky. By the way, Nick, what do you think? Just because, what do you think of Douglas Murray? Actually, I know you have mixed feelings on him. Have on a registered podcast, Thaddeus Russell. He did a podcast. Oh, was he debating James Lindsay on postmodernism? Oh, I would love to see that. What is he? Or Thaddeus Russell? With Thaddeus Russell, he's a postmodernist. Books, A Renegade History. Dude, I'll totally listen to that podcast. Absolutely. I might even review it. Who knows? Okay, so we just put Douglas Murray. I think he's an A. You know what? No, he's not. He's a B. Sorry. I'm like looking at I'm like, okay, really? I'm gonna put Brian Greene and Coleman Hughes at a B, but I'm gonna put Douglas Murray at A. No, sorry. Douglas Murray's a B. He's incredibly smart. Hitchens. Does it even need to be said? Like, does it even need to be said? Does it need to be said? Lindsay is A. I think you're right. Actually, I like James Lindsay a lot. He's a good buddy of mine. We talk here and there. Yeah, I think he's. It's hard to Lindsay is. Like, I think his diagnosis of voting Trump to curtail the woke is absolutely wrong. Okay, so he's better than Douglas Murray on the woke stuff. Let's do A. Let's do A. Let's do it. Oh, because I think Sam Harris can defend his positions better than Douglas Murray can. Watch the podcast that Douglas Murray had with Alex O'Connor, this guy. This was one of the reasons why I love Alex O'Connor so much. So Alex O'Connor did a podcast with Douglas Murray, and Alex O'Connor actually threw some softball questions towards Douglas Murray, and Murray was like stuttering. He didn't know what to say, which was surprising. And that could be a byproduct of the fact that Douglas Murray usually deals with like topics on a 2.0 level. But it was interesting. So yeah, so watch this podcast, and Alex O'Connor basically really corners Douglas Murray on some topics of conversation, and it was incredibly impressive. Douglas Murray was absolutely challenged in this interview, but some of the questions that Alex threw at him were pretty basic ones, and I'm surprised that Douglas Murray didn't have an answer towards them. So, oh, dude, he's fantastic. Yeah, if I were gay, I'd totally hit on Alex. He's fantastic. Okay. Douglas Murray is very intelligent and has strong insights into the problems of the left and radical Islam. The problem is what he stands for is worse than the worst successes of the left. Well, like economic conservatism. Sabalatoda. I agree with you 100%. I think he's S on woke stuff, but overall he's an A because he does have some dumb views on like Trump. He actually told me he had very little patience to debate with people publicly last week when I complimented him for carrying on arguing with Dinesh D'Souza. Who, James Lindsay? Or Douglas Murray? He actually told me he had very little patience to debate people publicly. I'm surprised he said. Yeah, I know he like told me behind the scenes that he like hates people like Dave Rubin, but because he doesn't think they're principled. Dinesh, yeah, let's just go ahead and say Dinesh is an E. Yeah, Nick Bostrom. I don't think many of you guys know who this guy is, but Nick Bostrom, I'll put him at an A. Basically, artificial intelligence dude, wrote Super Intelligence, concerned about AI, very catastrophic about it, very smart. Influenced Sam Harris a lot. So let's do that. Milo Yiannopoulos. Do you guys know who this is? This guy completely fell off the face of the world forever ago after the whole priest scandal came out. And I just finished reading his book, Dangerous. So this is the reason why I have him here. So I just finished his book called Dangerous. And I was talking with my friend Thomas Sheedy about this, is that Milo was surprisingly nuanced about some positions. So he's very much anti-BLM. And yet in the book, look, I recognize that, black people are disproportionately pulled over by police and they have a lower level of socioeconomic status that forces them into lives of violence, lives of gangs. So I was really surprised that he conceded at that point. But let's put him at a D. Actually, no, let's put him at an E. So the reason why he's at an E is that I think he did more damage towards public discourse than someone like Ben Shapiro or Chomsky or Vaush or Slavoj Zizek did. Because he just comes across as an asshole. So if he's trying to make arguments against why against why feminism is in the West, you can do that. That's perfectly fine. But because he just said, "Oh, the only reason why women want to be feminists is because they're fat and ugly, and it's the only way they can make money," okay, you're not going to convince anybody. Two, sure, you could make the argument that that's funny, but in the domain of public discourse, I don't think that's very helpful, and I think it just makes your arguments look worse than they actually are. So let's put him at an E. Look at this; it's starting to look like a normal distribution. Mm-hmm. Brett Weinstein. Let's do the Weinstein brothers. So I actually like Weinstein quite a bit. I think he's insanely smart. Agree with him on quite a bit. I agree with him on quite a bit. I think he's pussyfooting around the topic of Donald Trump, but overall he's great. I'm going to put Brett Weinstein at an A, and I'm going Eric. Eric has some interesting views on the whole concept of on the peer review system. So I'm going to put Eric Weinstein at a B. That sound good? Oof, look at this. The intellectual dark web is Tim Pool. Where should I put Tim? Which is a smarter Weinstein? Probably Eric, actually, because Eric has what PhD in math, and he's a polymath in physics and math and in economics, whereas Eric just has a PhD in evolutionary biology. So I mean, Eric is definitely more academically gifted than Brett is, but I like Brett more. C, D. Yeah, it's not looking good. I mean, I'm thinking putting him at a C because in the same way, same thing with Destiny. He's a good debater. He talks fast, but he's incredibly biased. He refuses to criticize Trump. I talked to Nate yesterday and told me he was going to talk to you again. Yeah, we're going to talk about the concept of property. The concept of property and the failures of meritocracy. That's going to be an interesting conversation. We should be talking on the 8th, I think. I don't know if we're going to live stream that conversation. I hope we do because that's going to be interesting. Jordan Peterson. So, this is a big one. This is a big one, fellas. Where do we put Jordan? Oh, wow. You guys are saying D. Oh, we should totally do that, Fanny. I'm down. I'm doing a live viewing party. I don't know if I'm going to stream this. I doubt I will. I doubt I will stream it. I'm going to be doing a live viewing party of election night. Like Jordan, but he's overrated. Jordan is at the top food chain. DE. So I'm getting. So Caligula likes Jordan Peterson quite a bit. I'm assuming he wants him at an S. D. I'm getting D from Matt. I'm getting a C from Ahmed. He's an excellent speaker, but makes exceptions for religions. Otherwise, would not for other areas, making him intellectually dishonest. I agree. I like Jordan a lot. He thinks he is an A. Wait, I like Jordan on a lot of things. He is an A for me, except when he starts talking about religion, he is an E. So what would you average that out to a C? Baglia might be a S. C is good enough. Yeah, so I think he's good with wokeness. I think he has a general understanding of what emerging from the Frankfurt School, emerging from Marxism, or some of it emerging from Marxism. He's really bad at religion, and his understanding and concept of truth screws him up around that. I'm going B. I'm going B. I like Jordan. Yeah, I'm going B. I like Jordan more than Destiny. I like him more than Daniel Dennett, more than Tim Pool. I'm running out of space on B's. I hope I don't have any more B's. Oh, shoot. There's a B right there. So we're almost done. We're almost done, fellas. And then we're going to review some videos. Okay. Let's not do these old school philosophers. Kant, Voltaire, Hume. Okay, Hume's good. Kant's good. Voltaire's good. They're all good. Oh, Sean Carroll. So again, um, C was fine for Jordan. I think you know what? I think you're right. Let's give Jordan a C. I don't think he's quite up there with Eric or oh my god. Okay. Looking at this list, yeah, he's definitely not up there with them. C is good. I don't I don't know if I'm B. Armin Avabi. Oh, I do have Armin Avabi on here, right? Oh, where Elon Musk, Pinker, Devin, David Pacman. Okay, so yeah, let's do Armin Avabi here. Bum, bum, bum. Yeah, we got to do Armin. He's going to get mad if I don't put him at an A, at least. Armin. Okay, we'll do him next. So, Sean Carroll is. Did I give? Oh, I did give Tim Pool C. Yeah, Tim Pool's a C. Actually, hold on. I said C is above average, right? I forgot. I was equating Tim Pool with average. Yeah, I think Tim Pool's worth Anthony. Okay. Yeah. Sean Carroll, he's really terrible when it comes to wokeness. He's incredibly biased, and even though he claims to be for open expression and having these conversations, I don't think he lives up to that claim. He's amazing on physics. I think he really brought forth and normalized the concept of the many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics. So I'm going B for Sean Carroll. Sean Carroll's a B. He's super woke, and he blocked James Lindsay on Twitter. Fun fact: he blocked James Lindsay on Twitter. Look at this. This is looking like a normal distribution. Steven Pinker. So I already know where Steven Pinker is. I know where he is. Where would you guys say Steven Pinker's at? Let's see. What do we got? Plato and Hassan Piker. Yeah, two names that definitely need to be put next to each other. Armin is a B. Okay, so Ahmed says Steven Pinker's an S. Okay, I already know where he's going. Let's see where you guys think he is. Nick Cohen. I'm not doing Nick Cohen. Come on. Steven Pinker. Pinker might be S, A, so pretty high. It looks like we're doing pretty high. S. Yeah. Okay, so Pinker for me, without a doubt, Pinker's top tier. Yeah, so without a doubt, Pinker's S tier. That's where Pinker is. Pinker is one of the public intellectuals in which, if I find that I have a disagreement with Pinker, I double check my facts. You don't like his optimism? He's not optimistic. People have constantly told him in front of his face, "Why are you so optimistic about society?" And he said over and over again, "I'm not optimistic. It's not about me being optimistic. Enlightenment Now is not a book about optimism. The Better Nature of our Angels is not a book about optimism. Is it Better Nature of Our Angels or Better Angels of Our Nature?" I always forget because my dyslexic ass can't remember. It's where the heck are you? I'm going to lose my mind if I don't find out what it is immediately. Whatever it is. But yeah. So it's not a book about better angels. Okay. Better angels of our nature. It's not about optimism. It's just about being realistic. He says this constantly, recognizing that previous problems, past problems have solutions, and that future problems most likely also have solutions. And let's do last guy for sure. 100% last person, Bill Maher. Bill Maher's last person. Okay. For sure the last one. Oh, that's too big of a picture. 600, whatever. Last person. Only an A. But A. S. So Mar. Let's do Mar now. Where do you guys think Mar is? Thomas Sheedy? Thomas Sheedy's an S. Bill Maher's a C. Yeah, Bill Maher's definitely better than Jordan Peterson and Daniel Dennett and Rogan. I'm thinking, I gotta make space because he looks like he's going to be a B. I'm thinking B. I don't like Bill Maher's anti-vax stance. I disagree with him with some of his policy issues. But generally speaking, I think he's fearless. I think he's absolutely right when it comes to religion, absolutely right when it comes to woke culture, and the fact that he's one of the very few people with a cable platform that's willing to speak out against woke culture is so incredibly indispensable. So I would say he's a B. He's not like the most intellectually fluent person on here for sure, but he is intellectually indispensable based on the fact that he is on cable. He's amazing with atheism. He's good with, as you said, Fanny, he's good with woke stuff. I don't like his anti-vax stuff. He goes super hardcore anti-Trump, but generally speaking, he's good. Like, I don't agree everything politically he says, but he's got a good head on. He hoped the economy would. Yes, he did. Again, I don't agree with him. That is dumb. I agree. That is incredibly dumb, Ahmed. That he said. Which is why he's an A or an S. But generally speaking, like everyone on here has said dumb things. Christopher Hitchens has made some dumb arguments against religion. So when someone asks him, where does evil come from? And he just makes a joke, oh, it comes from religion. Yeah, that's funny, but you didn't answer the question. That's a dumb thing to say. But generally speaking, he's S tier. Bill Maher has said dumb things. Generally speaking, I would say he's B tier. Okay. So we're almost done. David Pakman. Where do we put David Pakman? Super duper never Trumper. Nick Cohen is Mayo deGrasse Tyson. I should have done Neil deGrasse. Yeah, Neil deGrasse Tyson would be probably A. Pakman is B. I think so too. I'm thinking Pakman is B. B is like packed. Packed men. Yeah, I'm thinking B. Pack is a C. David is a C. Nothing special. I mean, I would, but the thing is, Destiny here is that C. David Pakman is definitely better than Destiny. He's definitely better than Jordan Peterson. Yeah, and that's a. I agree with you, Ahmed. Yeah, you're right. David Pakman is not as good as Coleman or Glenn or Lawrence Krauss or Brian Greene, but he's also not as bad as Destiny or Jordan Peterson. He's got to be like in between, huh? Ah, this is hard. Man, David Pakman just screwed everything up. Yeah, I'm going to say C for David Pakman. I think C is good. C, let's round it down. He's a high C. Yeah, you're right, Ahmed. Let's do C. You're right. You see, this is why I have you guys here. You guys have. Okay. Armin Avabi. You guys know who this is? So Armin Avabi, I mean, he's not like anywhere near as popular as these people, obviously. But his company is, his business is Atheist Republic, super duper popular. I think Armin is one of those people where if I find myself that I disagree with him, I double check my facts. He's legitimately insanely smart. Just because he can't present himself well or eloquently enough doesn't mean shit when it comes to him, because his views are, his beliefs are very well thought out. I'm going B for Armin. High C, yeah, Armin. Yeah, worst case scenario, I would say Armin's a high C, but I like Armin more than Jordan Peterson, more than David Pakman. Well, first of all, I like Armin more than anybody on here because he's like actually a good friend of mine. But as a public intellectual, yeah, I'd say he's a B. Okay, who do we got now? Devin, atheism. Someone told me to do this guy, so I am actually not a huge fan of him. David Pakman underestimates the danger of woke. Wait, yes, he does, 100%. I thought you said overestimate for some reason. And he thinks there are just some college kids. Yeah, which is interesting because he made a video a few years ago on the progressive left, basically saying that like, look, they are a real thing, they do exist, and they could be a problem. But then I guess he just went so super duper anti-Trump that he just started like downplaying everything they did. So I think what happened with him is basically the negativity bias, in which because he views Donald Trump as a negative, he amplified the dangers of Donald Trump, so much so to the point where it completely squashed the dangers and power of the regressive, and so he just doesn't focus it on it anymore. So Devin Tracy, what do you guys think about Devin Tracy? Ahmed likes him a lot. B. So my problem with Devin Tracy. So even if Devin is right, my problem with him, I shouldn't even have him here because he's the type of person that would make a 30-minute long video on me, shitting on me if I don't put him like on. So he's really funny. I like him as a person. Yes, and I agree. He does talk about issues that no one wants to touch. What I don't like, his videos largely consist of a 30-minute video in which he's just making fun of the person for 30 minutes rather than actually presenting any substantial arguments. So I'm thinking like D. Yeah, like his video presentations are fantastic. The quality of it is great, but the quality of the arguments itself are not very good. I think he's just making fun of the person. That's all it is. Like we could watch some of his videos right now. I have an account on censored. Oh, already here. You see? Dude, almost see this guy. Jesus. Yeah, whatever. Okay. We got one person left actually. Elon Musk. Where are we putting Elon Musk? Just for the fearless? I mean, if we're going just based on fearlessness, technically Richard Spencer would get a too, right? Wouldn't he? Yeah, Elon Musk is S tier. Yeah, not S tier. A tier. Elon Musk is A tier. He he's a terrible speaker. Terrible speaker. So that's what we've got. So we have sure, I'm good with an A. Yeah. They're nowhere near the same. Wait, who? Uh oh, you sorry, Richard Spencer and yeah. So not the same. Yeah, you're right. But that's just for the sake of saying, well, if we're only ranking it on like fearlessness, I don't think that's a good metric. IMO. He doesn't go on debates. Do you know Warren Farrell? If so, where would you put? Who's Warren Farrell? I don't know who that is. Warren Farrell. Who is this? Oh, he's a political scientist. There's so many public intellectuals that I gotta like brush up on. The myth of male power. Okay, so what is he? Socially conservative. Why men earn more. Women can't hear what men don't say. Okay, so he's. I don't know who this guy is. I'll look into him. Yeah, I'll definitely look into him. He seems interesting. This is a great video. We'll watch this video, actually. We'll review some of it. It's fantastic. So this looks good, right? So is there a strong disagreement with a particular person here? I mean, it's a huge plus if you're not completely an idiot. I agree. Yeah. So no, I agree with you, Ahmed, 100%. Yeah, so it's definitely a huge plus if you're not completely an idiot. So I would say that actually about Sam Harris, where Sam Harris is willing to talk about race and I, which is something that pretty much like geneticists are completely unwilling to have that conversation because it's just so politically suicidal. So you're right. You're right. Maybe I mischaracterized you. I'm sorry. So anything on here that you guys disagree with heavily? What would you guys say? What is a huge disagreement that you have with my list here? What do we got? Guys, I mean, like what? We have the critical race theorists at the bottom. Gotta bounce. Take it easy. Oh, for sure. Thanks for stopping by, Nick. Have a good day. What time is it over there in Australia, in Kangaroo Land? I disagree that Tim Pool would even be on that list. Also, Crowder Googie along with Milo Googie. Like just they shouldn't even be listed as Republican elections, or they should be below F. What do you mean? Oh, goofy. Yeah, Crowder seems goofy. Milo's goofy. I agree, both of them are goofy. 4:45 p.m. Gotta feed my kangaroo. Yeah, go feed your kangaroo. I know it's like really hard to stay alive over there because you're always being constantly attacked by animals. Rank yourself, please. You want me to rank myself? Okay. I'm gonna rank myself right now. I'm going to rank. Let me get my image. Look how hot I look. I look so fucking hot. Okay. Oh, whoops, shit. I did copy. Okay. You really want to know where I'd put myself? Are you kidding me? Is there any doubt? Is there any doubt? Is there any doubt that I would be an A? Matt, you think I'm a B? Get out of here. What are you saying? I'm an S. I'm an S. It's not even a contest. Thank you, Matt. You'll give me an A. Okay. An A. Do an A. Now, realistically, I mean, I don't know. I'm a D. Like, I don't think I'm Milo. I'm definitely not Dave Rubin. Like, I definitely know more about what I'm talking about than Dave Rubin. But I'm not John McWhorter. I'm not Alex O'Connor. I'm not Brian Green. I'm not Armin Avabi. Right now, because again, I've been on YouTube for like a couple of months. Previews of your own future. I'll give myself a D. I'm an aspire. You guys are way too nice to me, by the way. You guys are way too nice to me. No. I'm a D. I mean, the problem is that all these people are obviously already well established. So Ben Shapiro started when he was 21, right? When was Ben Shapiro born? Because he wrote his first book on like anti-porn when he was like 20 or something. Ben Shapiro, birth year, 1984. And what was his first book? First book. Was it Brainwashed? So he wrote it what? Really? 2004? Is that when it came out? He was 20 years old when he wrote this book. Wait, no. Brainwashed book. Ben Shapiro. No to D. I say B, edging towards A. I'm aiming. Yeah, you got to aim for S for sure. I disagree with where you put Armin. I'm disappointed. What a bad friend. But Armin has a potential. He has a potential, absolutely. But he needs to. He's at B right now, and I love Armin. I think he's. I think okay. Keep in mind, most of these people I think are brilliant. I think Eric Weinstein is brilliant. I think Sean Carroll is brilliant. I think Douglas Murray is brilliant. I think Armin Navabi is brilliant. I think these people are brilliant. And I think these people are like geniuses. So it's not like this is so don't mistake this for just like as a categorization of what the average population would resemble. Obviously the average be below an F. That's the average population. So the fact that Armin is even at a B is like incredibly impressive. And that's not like my standards. Like in general, on anybody's list, he should be a B. So he was 20 years old when he wrote this book. Then I haven't read this. I read 3 Ben Shapiro books. I haven't read this one. I was joking. Yeah, no worries. I gotcha. Living to be my best one day or never, but still trying. I will die trying. The only reason why I'm in this sphere is because I like having these conversations. It's fun to me, right? Brainwashed. I should buy this book. What is it at on Goodreads? When he was 9 years old. Yeah, book when he was 9 years old. Okay. So these are the books I'm reading right now. So Benito Snow by Herman Melville, The Tragedy of Puddinghead Wilson, which is actually just called Puddinghead Wilson, and T-minus AI. So Brainwashed. Let's see. Oh, 3.6. Yikes, it's not even very high. I think that's be Ben Shapiro's lowest rated book, which I'm not surprised because he wrote it when he was 20. Jeffrey Miller gave it 4 stars. Yeah, you see, so he went to UCLA at the age of 16, graduated summa cum laude and Phi Beta. Oh, he was in a fraternity? Yikes. I gave How to Destroy America in 3 Easy Steps 2 stars. I gave How to Debate Leftist 1 star, and 1 star to The Right Side of History. Oh my god, this book has 3.4 stars? This is definitely his lowest rated book. Porn Generation, How Social Liberalism is Corrupting Our Future. Yeah, like these books are embarrassing, Ben. Why are you even writing this? So Lex Friedman, I'm actually beginning to become a fan of him right now. So I don't know enough about him right now to be able to put him on any of my list here. But I'm starting to watch him now. Publishing at 20 is big. It's a huge accomplishment. That's impressive. I'm 23. So that means that I'm thinking to myself, I can't imagine me publishing a book 3 years ago. That's nuts. That's insane. He's like, Ben Shapiro is legitimately smart. He's legitimately smart. Graduated high school, age of 16, went to Harvard at the age of 16. No, sorry. He went to UCLA at the age of 16, got his BA in political science, then went to Harvard Law School. It's crazy. Oh, Parasitic Mind. I have it here. I haven't read it yet. But yeah, I have the Parasitic Mind. Apparently, he gets very technical and starts using big words to describe woke stuff. Give me some. So I'll probably only stream for like another hour. I'll stop at like midnight once it's no longer Halloween and I have to take off my cool PNG images. Gatasad is an A. Gatasad is an A, really? Gatasad, I'd probably put Gatasad. Whoops. No, Gatasad is probably a C for me, actually. C or D. I don't think he's that. I don't think he's that good. Uh, 2 days ago he had Eric Weinstein on. Whoa, really? Really? How do you say your name? Sable Toda, whatever. Having this conversation can be fun, but also stressful. My brother and his partner are woke, and he has called me a sexist neo-Nazi multiple times. Jesus Christ, that's horrifying. That's crazy. Yeah, I have not been called anything that crazy because what's interesting is that these are conversations that I never had with my friends growing up. But, once we graduated high school and we started talking about the woke culture that's been occurring on campuses, we started talking about it and we all agreed with it. We all agreed this is crazy. The accusations that are being thrown around at particular people, neo-Nazis, or they're, uh, you know, crazy sexist misogynistics, and they participate in a culture that's, even if they're not openly and intentionally supporting these systems, they are participating in a culture in which those systems are normalized, so therefore they're complicit. It's so crazy. So I kind of got lucky. All my friends are pretty anti-woke. Like, even the most woke friend that I have isn't necessarily woke. He just doesn't think it's that big of a deal. Most people have been called these names by now. A lot of them have. It's crazy. I don't care about I'm not getting paid for these advertisements. You better not say Eddie Van Halen is the best musician of all time. All right, I don't care about any of this stuff. Leonard Cohen, Battle Between Ego and Humility, Darkness and Beauty, Jimi Hendrix, Revolutionary Minds. Who would you say is a revolutionary mind? Oh, this is interesting. Are we headed towards a civil war? My original belief would be that if Biden wins, sorry, no, if Trump wins, potentially, if Biden wins, no. Or like a populist revolution. Okay, you can say that about anything, though. Oh, you guys can't listen to it? Really? I didn't know this. Okay, 1 second. Remove. I didn't know this. I'm so sorry. Oh, share audio. Should be able to listen to it now. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. I am so sorry.
In detail, so that'll be a little bit of catnip to bring
Can
in
you
smart
listen to it
people.
now?
But they'll also digest it for each other. It's one of the great lessons of long form podcasting. If you don't waste all your time explaining things, that's the job of the audience to do amongst themselves. They're happy doing the work, and those who aren't, they leave. Isn't that great? They'll leave. The people who don't want to struggle will leave. You can get rid of them.
Yeah, okay. I'm so sorry. Talk about Roger Penrose, Epstein. We need to get off this planet. Enough geometric unity. Gratitude. Oh, there I am. Oh, Vosh. He actually came up with a video recently that was interesting that I haven't seen it. Conservatives outraged at Tim Pool for platforming me. Is that true? Oh, I'm sure that's true. What's saying? How do we debunk these right-wing talking points with leftist students? Let's watch a Vosh video.
Folks, so I'm sure you all know I recently went on Timcast IRL. I traveled across the country just so I could look Tim straight in the eye and tell him, yes, I am a socialist. What are you going to do about it? He didn't even hit me after I said that. He didn't even hit me. He didn't do anything about it. Well, we talked for 4 hours. And I don't want to milk this too much because it makes me kind of look like weird or whatever. But the outcome, like the response, has been so goddamn strange. So this a little bit before that there are some people on the right who are really, really mad about Tim having me on. And to an extent, I understand that. So I want to talk a little bit about platforming and my philosophy about platforming, okay? There are a lot of people on the left who think that any time you ever platform any person on the right, it's bad. And those people are stupid, okay? Because platform.
Yes, they are. And I'm glad that Vosh is on the right side of that conversation.
Okay, there are good and bad ways to do it. I platform a lot of really despicable people on my channel, but I do it to debate them. And because I'm
Yes, so that's the thing. One of the expectations should be that you should be able to understand how to refute their arguments. If you're platforming someone who's like a white supremacist who believes some crazy, crazy, horrifying things. I'm not saying someone who just gets an accusation of being a white supremacist. Someone who's legitimately a white supremacist. The problem with Sargon of Akkad having a conversation with someone like Richard Spencer is that Sargon of Akkad basically got his ass kicked because he didn't actually understand any of the arguments that Richard Spencer had because he didn't do his homework. So long as you do your homework, you should be fine.
I'm confident in my rhetoric and in my knowledge. I usually think I'll come off looking better than them, which serves my interest. You know, what would irresponsible platforming would be like if I was like super meek and like they just came on, they just went off.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think Vosh is like an intellectual giant. I think he's an incredibly good debater and he can maneuver his way around arguments, and that's why I listen to him.
For talking points and like I just sort of listen, nodded, and that sort of thing, you know? Sometimes people on the right will do this to other right-leaning people as a form of controlled opposition. This is very common. Dave Rubin was really, really good at this. You have people come on like Dave Rubin show, for example. And
wait, what was Dave Rubin good at? He's not good at anything.
Nodded and that sort of thing, you know? Sometimes people on the right will do this to other right-leaning people as a form of controlled opposition. This is very common. Dave Rubin was really, really good at this. You have people come on like Dave Rubin show, for example, and these people can be very far right. These people can have despicable ideas. And Dave Rubin will say like, well, I disagree with some of your ideas, but you know, the ideas you're putting out here are just, wow, man, I can barely even handle them. My brain is just, my onions are just being sliced right now by how amazing your ideas are. Like that sort of thing, you know? And it's this sort of performative denunciation, but in reality, the ideas are sort of broadcast and propagated. Joe Rogan does this sometimes as well. Joe Rogan does this to pretty much every guest he is on. Like Joe Rogan doesn't challenge super directly the people who he's talking to. Sometimes that's great. There have been good guests on the Joe Rogan show. Sometimes it's not great. Whatever the case may be, platforming is like really complicated. So with Tim Pool, right, on, and a lot of right-leaning people are upset because they're now using my logic. They are now saying, well, you had him on, but you didn't challenge his ideas enough. So actually, it was irresponsible for you to have him on, which is hysterical because they would never, ever, ever, ever about any other person who comes on Tim's or any other show. They would never say that about another person like that. I have never seen a far right person or even regular conservative say that about like Nazis who go on, you know, like white nationalists, you know, like Taylor or Stefan Molyneux, or who's that crazy guy who used to sub in, who hosted for Stephen Crowder a couple of times? The guy who said that Hitler was just trying to clean Germany of the filth. Owen Benjamin. Yeah, thank you. They never do that with these people. They do it with me because, and I want to be perfectly clear here, when I went on Tim's show, I talked about simple ideas that I think are convincing to a large audience because those are the things that I care about, you know? Leftism isn't about highly esoteric academic definitions and exclusionary social spaces. It's not, okay? Leftism is about very basic ideas, very simple realizations that you should be able to deliver to anybody. There is not functional democracy in this country. We need more democracy. We need better democracy in our elected governments, and we need better democracy within our workplaces. We need people to be provided better accommodations. Our government is inefficient and it's corrupt, and there are things we can do about this. But we need to reassess how we look at our country. We need to reassess how we look at industry. We need to reassess how we look at the relationship between workers and the industries they work for. And I talked about this, and I'm happy that I did. And I'm proud, frankly, to have had the opportunity to share those ideas with a large audience. And I thanked him for having given me that opportunity. And to Tim's credit, and I said this before, Tim has been on Twitter defending his right to have me on and my right to go on. And I respect the hell out of that. I genuinely do. I have been over the past 2 years of me doing this, or 2-ish years, a little less than 2 years. I've seen a lot of bad faith treatment from people on the right, which is to be expected, I suppose, given what I do. So it is genuinely heartening to me that Tim Pool would sort of broadly defend, you know, in a genuinely neutral manner, my right to go on. And I appreciate that. But the response has been so weird from the broad, like really, really strange. I talked a little bit about Carolyn Borisenko, who, I shit you not, this is real, who fought with Tim on Twitter and then made a video about how she's over Tim and then put it behind a paywall. Like, you know, like she put it up and it was behind it. Like, you want to see why I'm done with Twitter? Like, here you go. She blocked me on Twitter too, but frankly, I'm surprised she hadn't done that earlier. Just yesterday, okay, listen, normally I wouldn't do this because I don't, who, I shit you not, this is real, who, appreciate that. But the response has been right, like really, really strange. I talked a little bit about Carolyn Borisenko, who, I shit you not, this is real, who fought with Tim on.
All right. It's funny because you can always see why cancel Chris Pratt. I don't want to see that. You can see the type of videos that I watch based on my recommendations. So yeah, I watch a lot of them. Jokers. I watch a lot of Oni. So I'm sorry about that. I'm a big soccer fan, so that's there. We watched this last night. Jordan Peterson on personality. Wait, Crowded Classics. Never mind. Let's go on my subscriptions. Let's see if there's anything interesting in my subscriptions. Chris Shelton's great. He was on my podcast. 5 things commonly mistaken for ghosts. Okay, that's an interesting video. Abdullah Samir is great. Muslims are weak. Yikes. Oh, Tim Pool is a moron. Oh, this is about his whole getting angry at Bill Maher, right? Yeah, the choice is Americans do have a choice on Tuesday. The answer is to vote Joe Biden. Can stoicism be improved? I gotta subscribe. I don't like Matt Dillahunty anymore. He's kind of a dick.
Started looking at my channel, and I know these people exist because I can see my analytics and I can see where this stuff comes from. You know, so basically the gist of it is this: as you guys know, I'm a pretty controversial left-leaning figure. I mean, everyone who does politics online carries some degree of controversy, but there's a sliding scale. You know, somebody like David Pacman, for example, very very measured, doesn't get in drama very often. Me, on the other hand, I get around. You know. So I don't get many invites to things. Tim Pool started saying lefties were afraid to come on his show, and Sam Cedar and Hassan seemed interested, but then they weren't interested because of COVID, which I think is a perfectly reasonable reason, by the way. But I thought I'm a strapping young man. You know, I'm strong and firm and fit and ready to die. So I thought, okay, sure. Tim's over on the other side of the country, but I traveled over there and I went on the Tim Carell show. And so here are my thoughts. Listen, I'll lay out my thoughts. And
yes, that's true. There was a huge controversy over the fact that Sam Cedar wanted to come on the show, and they sort of agreed. And then Tim said that, well, I want you to be in the actual audience itself, in the actual room. And then Sam Cedar said, well, because of COVID, that's the problem, and I don't want to travel across the country. So is there some way that we could just do this online? Which I think you totally easily could, but Tim just, for some reason, said no. And so that was canceled.
Then I'll make some general statements, and then I'll cover the fallout afterwards, okay? First of all, and this is the thing that surprised me the most, I have made a lot of comments about Tim Pool. At no point have I done so dishonestly. I'm never dishonest when I express my opinion of a person. However,
bullshit.
I do think I was wrong. I actually don't think Tim Pool is a grifter. And I can say that because before the podcast started and after the podcast ended, he spoke with the exact same conviction on the exact same subjects that he had during the podcast. You can take from that what you will, but I genuinely believe that, he's passionate and sincere about the things he believes in. Dude also has a gigantic underground skate park. That is true. That is true. I saw it. It is huge. He's doing quite. No, I'm not kidding. No, yeah, seriously. No, yeah, it was sick as fuck. It was rad as hell. No, it was fucking awesome. Yeah. Oh yeah. It was it was a whole half pipes and yeah. So that's cool. With regards to the discussion itself, imagine most of you saw the discussion. If not, this won't really make sense. But how rich is Tim Pool? Tim Pool is the largest online political figure in the English-speaking world. That's how rich.
Is that true?
Tim Pool is literally 10 times my size, and I'm doing pretty good.
Tim Pool net worth. Is that true? Okay, that's definitely not his net worth.
So it's but whatever the case may be. Whatever the case may be. I went over there, and Tim, enormously pleasant in person. Unironically, I had a great time talking with him and the people who work with him. We went on the podcast. And as for the podcast itself, I've seen a lot of the responses online. I think that I did a good job holding my positions. My interest in that discussion was to indicate to the people who are watching, who are mostly Tim Pool fans, that while even if they don't agree with every prescription that I have, they don't agree with every solution I have to the world's problems, fundamentally, we believe in the same things. And that it's important for us to focus on those solutions and not get bogged down by the most hyperbolic elements of the things we dislike, Like just because corporate idpol is cringe doesn't mean that, intersectionality is bad. There are a lot, you can do a lot with that. And some people agree, some don't, whatever. I thought it went well. In terms of the shift in discourse, the most difficult was not having a computer on me. See, I do all my debates online. I don't really do stuff in person, with the exception of my one conversation with Jesse Lee Peterson, who's not exactly a data-oriented kind of guy. When there are certain subjects that I think require fact-checking or a very specific or intimate inspection of detail, it really, really helps to have a computer or chat or whatever, because if you can fact-check, you can really quickly nail points down. When it comes to certain subjects like Obamagate or Russiagate, the intricacy of these subjects is extensive enough that if you don't have the ability to fact-check on the fly, a person can make a claim that's completely wrong, and it's very difficult to call them on it, because if there's even if there's a 1% chance you're wrong,
What is this guy?
being wrong when you were wrong yourself. Like it's done. You've ruined yourself. You know. So the so that's something that I need to get better at in the future. Obviously, subjects like Obamagate and Russiagate aren't things that I pay a tremendous amount of attention to because fuck me, man. Russiagate's done, and Obamagate is fucking nonsense. But one way or another,
I'll watch
I think
him.
that I did a decent enough job. I hope everyone enjoyed it, and I hope the Tim Pool fans enjoyed it as well. I really do hope that the Tim Pool fans who were there, who watched that, I know a lot of them disliked it, whatever, and I know a lot of you motherfuckers were in chat going like, I used to be a stressed neo-Nazi until I saw Vosh's glorious hair, and now I'm a cat girl. I know you guys, yeah, we're polluting the well a little bit, which was very funny, thank you. Even if it did make it impossible to tell if people actually were being moved over my position, but it was funny. Thank you, I appreciate that. That was the longest Tim Pool IRL segment ever done at over 4 hours. It was apparently in other metrics enormously successful. It currently has more views, even I think than the Enrique Carrillo one, the leader of the Proud Boys. I think we did a phenomenal job. I think people were very interested, and there were even watching that stream. I know they had 8K on the surfs. I know there were, I don't know how many, but I know that Xander Hall was streaming it as well. So and Destiny was watching it as well. So all together, if you pile together all the numbers, I think we got a lot of exposure. It shows in the analytics. I'm very, very proud. And there have been some concerns from some people. They've said, do you feel you've humanized or normalized Tim Pool? Do you think you've softened him up to your audience?
Wait, humanized? You can say what you want about Tim Pool. He's not like an insane freaking hard right person that we should be concerned about. He's not a Richard Spencer. Humanized Tim Pool?
Which I have this to say. First of all, there's nothing wrong with humanizing people you disagree with. You should be able to humanize anybody. Humanization of your opponents is in no way mutually exclusive with thinking they do harm to the world. Have I seen people saying Tim Pool wasn't as bad as I thought? I have. You all are free to make your own conclusions. I still think that the advocacy that Tim Pool does, the content that he produces, leads people down a very conspiratorial, very far right road. I think that does a tremendous amount of damage. And I don't think there's necessarily a relationship between an individual's moral worth and the, or like how good of a person they are, like to interact with, and what they do for the world. There are very, very terrible people who are nonetheless, very effective and very decent influences on the people around them. You can come to your own conclusions. So, after all that's said and done, oh, by the way, I just want to say, Ian, you guys are calling him Shaggy Lord, absolutely phenomenal, just tremendous, just absolutely spectacular. What a guy. He actually gave me a ride back to the hotel. We talked about like magnets and shit. He's fantastic. I don't know any of the like broader context. Tim operates his IRL show or the relationship or anything like that. But he is a fucking human wonder, and I'm really happy that I got to meet him as well. I just want to say he's a cool dude. But all that being said, you have to remember with regards to platforming, there's a lot of discourse on the left about platforming, you know, because for a while we saw a very dishonest defense of platforming people you disagree with. This is why lefties are so sensitive about platforming, because you have people like Dave Rubin, who will bring on like neo-Nazis, and then it'll be like, oh, well, I'm platforming them to challenge their ideas, but it's not. It's a PR piece, you know. There's no actual challenging going on. In reality, I think platforming is fine and dandy as long as you're doing it responsibly. And, well, did I irresponsibly platform Tim? No, I was on his platform. Did Tim irresponsibly platform me? Well, some think that is the case. Actually, quite a fucking few people think the case. I have seen an unbelievable amount of rage online from people with regards to Tim Pool platforming me. The funniest of all of this is Carolyn Borisenko. I feel like I can't even do this justice just by showing the tweets. The basic gist of it is, for those who don't know, I don't talk about Carolyn Borisenko because I think she's like crazy. So I feel bad like poking fun at her, you know. But basically, she was like, I was a Democrat, and then Trump supporters were nice to me, and then the one left person was mean to me, and now I'm voting for Trump. And she's like, I think she like wants to fuck me or something. I have no idea, but it's like really, really weird. So I don't engage with her. And but Tim Pool had me on, and Carolyn is like, this was disgusting of Tim Pool. I can't believe you would have such a manipulative little fuck on your platform. How could you? And the funny thing is, she's acting like the SJW, right? Like she's acting like the stereotypical SJW because like in the right they don't tend to act this way. Like they're very avant-garde about who they platform, you know, hypothetically. She gets really, really, really mad. And unironically, she's not the only one too. And now Tim is, and I love him for this, Tim is fucking defending me on social media against like the unironic right-wing.
I'm gonna book him again.
So this wasn't the outcome I was expecting from all this. It has been fucking hysterical, like genuinely gut-bustingly funny. It's not, by the way, it's not just Carolyn Borisenko. There's a ton of people, neo-Nazis, who are saying that because they platformed me, they have to platform them as well. You know, like Eric Striker, Mikey Knock, or any of these fucking losers. So there's like that group, you know. And then there are people who are like, I can't believe that he would platform a rapist, pedophile, psychopath, and that's in the Carolyn Borisenko, the Ian Miles Chong billing, and also the former co-host of Timcast IRL, that guy Adam Kringler, I think, on the Quartering as well. The Quartering actually super chatted like $100 to like talk about my penis during the actual live stream. Like, holy, yeah. Anyway, Krigler, there it is. Adam Krigler, I think was like the former host or something, but he's all like, now the house is polluted with Vosh. And I have to say this, by the way, I tend to value the criticism that I receive based on its apparent legitimacy. Okay, and you can generally tell that. So whenever oh yeah, here we go. I think there were other ones from the Quartering as well, but he actually like human amounts of money were spent on this. You know, I guess the Quartering's channel is doing well.
Human amounts of money, as opposed to what? Ask Wash if he supports CP and the eradication of Israel. Ask Wash why his junk is so
I'm not saying
tiny.
it's hard for cash rating like that, but like unironically, yeah, I'm surprised Sargon didn't jump in there with more of that. You know, but whatever the case may be, I'm not a perfect person. I do make mistakes sometimes. And when I do, I see criticism for it online, and sometimes I learn from that, and sometimes and my ability to sort of introspect or reflect is usually determined by the legitimacy of the criticism that I get. And it makes me very, very happy when I'm getting criticism that tells me nothing other than other people are mad. That makes me very, very happy. So for example, go online and literally all of these conservatives, either the followers or the demagogues themselves, are just like, he's a rapist, he's a pedo rapist, he wants to kill all your children, he wants to destroy the white race. I know for a fucking fact that I do it, because you have nothing. How am I supposed to feel bad when the views you criticize me for aren't even within a fucking gulf field of the things I actually believe, you know? They're way the fuck over there. They're in a different zip code. That makes me feel amazing. It really, really does. Like, you know? I know you guys are so mad. One thing, and I'll say this: some Tim Pool fans did this. By the way, I saw a lot of this. There was a lot of really weird malding too. A lot of these people kept talking about me like I was a fucking devil. You know, like I can't, like, the sinister, manipulative vibes this man gave off left me creep out. Dude, I saw myself in the podcast. I come off perfectly. Project all you want. You know, there were people. I'm not kidding. There were people who were saying, and this is serious. There were people saying the only reason Tim Pool was being charitable to me on social media was because he had made the mistake of bringing me to his studio, and now I could dox them. And so I'm threatening them. So I like have his number, and I'm like, listen up, Tim. You better be really fucking nice to me on Twitter, or I'm taking you out. Like, unironically, like, holy shit, these people are insane. Like, that's the length you'll go to like explain on social media not participating in this weird like cancel culture backlash or whatever. Like, that's what you're getting. Like, that's what you're pulling out of your ass for this one. Jesus Christ. Yeah, maybe they're saying that because that's something they would do. Yeah, and you fucking know I'm never having conservatives come to my place for a conversation because I know they would do that shit to me. Absolutely. Maybe not him necessarily, but like eventually, stochastically, it's going to happen if I brought them over, which I never will. Thank you. But yeah, just the outcomes made me very, very happy because the frustration that I see, the anger that I see, is reflective of people who have bought into a narrative which has nothing to do with me. They're not even criticizing me for being a socialist. Like the fundamental values that I hold, they didn't even come close to this. I had a great time at the Tim thing. I don't like flying. It is COVID season. I did this kind of special occasion thing, you know, not something I want to do, you know, make a frequent habit of until things get settled down a little bit. But I had fun, and I would go on Tim's show again. You know, I do have severe disagreements with Tim, very severe disagreements with Tim. But one of the things that we have to recognize, you see people doxing chat, they've never gotten my real docs. Chill out. We go over this like every other day, dude. It's chill. And as severe as our disagreements may be, I am and always have been a firm advocate that the best way for us to advocate is to talk with people with whom we disagree and to give them the best presentation of our ideas. And I'm always willing to do that. I will do that to any audience. I will do this to any number of people. I will do this with people who I find even the most reprehensible human beings. I will do this as long as there's no threat to my personal safety or anything like that. I do really believe that. As long as it's worth my time, it means a lot. And I had a lot of fun. So, any Tim Pool fans, whatever, I legitimately appreciate you giving me the chance to talk to you. Seriously. And to all my fans, shut the fuck up. You were going to watch anyway, okay? You were all going to watch anyway. I don't need to thank you.
I agree with that. Look at that. We can find something that we agree with him on. Okay, I think I'm gonna end it here. The only reason why I decided to do this was because I wanted a reason to have this fun little skeleton guy at the bottom left, and then a witch at the top right. My top right, your top left. But yeah, I'm going to stream again tomorrow at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time because I promised you guys I would. So I'll do that. Don't worry. I'm still going to do that. I just wanted an excuse to have this Halloween overlay on. But I'm going to end the stream here. This was a lot of fun. We did some great work. We had a great time ranking public intellectuals. So I'm going to end it here. Everyone, thank you very much for joining me, for having fun. And I hope I'll see you next time. 79 subs to go. You're right. So we're almost at 1,000. So as I said before, we're going to have fun, drunk stream once we hit 1,000 subs. And I'm thinking, I don't know if I'm going to do this, but I'm thinking about potentially doing a live viewing party of the American election coming up. So I don't know what's going to happen because, again, I have finals to be concerned about. I have a final on the 5th. I have a final on the 6th. So I don't know if I'm just going to be too preoccupied studying for those things. Physics is a bitch. But we might do a live stream. Who knows? We'll see what happens. But anyways, I'm going to end it here. I'm going to watch some improvers. I'm going to read a bit. I'm going to go to sleep. And then tomorrow at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we're going to do another stream. We're going to do these on weekends, right? So the weekdays, obviously, I'm too busy with school, with university, so I won't be doing that then. But on the weekends, when I have time, because as I said, I do study on Saturdays, Fridays, but which Friday technically is a weekend. I study on Fridays and Saturdays. But on Sundays, very much in the same way that the Lord gave himself a day of rest, I also give myself a day of rest. So I don't study on Sunday. Sunday is a good day for me. So I'll stream at 3 p.m. on that day tomorrow. And so someone last thing I'll mention, someone left a comment on my previous stream basically saying that it was 4 a.m. when I started streaming for them, so they couldn't attend. We're going to figure that out, right? So I don't have an official schedule for what my live streams are going to be like, but we're going to figure something out because I don't want to stream it. I don't want to step on anybody's toes, and I also don't want to ensure that I'm streaming when people who want to watch, it's like 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 5 a.m. for them. So I don't want that to be a problem. So we'll figure this out, all right? We'll figure it out. We'll see what happens. Anyways, everyone, have a good night or have a good day, depending on where you are. Thank you for tuning in. This was a lot of fun. I'm glad we all agreed that Sam Harris was S tier, because he is. So see you around.